All right, so we are live, and here is our next episode of You Got This. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how many times we've started building something, doing something. We started a new career, we started our entrepreneurship journey, and realized that there's a lot of borrowed blueprints that we're working off of, assumptions and thoughts, and even goals for ourselves that we just kind of sort of borrowed. We mimicked. We thought that they were there. They thought they're a thing, and it's not true to our own true purpose. It's not true to our own values. These external comparisons and expectations create the problem for us because
Yeah.
they inhibit our own learning journey, our own journey. And
Yes.
oftentimes we start to feel unfulfilled about the journey itself, where we're
Yeah.
at, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that we're trying to create.
Yes.
I'm Stephen McConnell, founder and CEO of Growth Mindset Initiative and author of the Seven Laws of Personal Mastery. And here's my co host, Laconia.
Good evening. I'm Laconia Reed. I am the founder of Choices International. We are a group behavioral health practice providing services, telehealth, and I am the owner of So Say Me, a luxury elite workout brand for those people who value movement, mindset, and recovery. Thank you for having me.
I love this. And so I think too, so many times where I was just kind of sort of checked, if you will. And I'm assuming that I have this thing that I'm working on correct. And it's first and foremost assumptions. And we know where those lead. But it's a blueprint in my mind of whatever I'm working on. I have encountered this many times since I've started the entrepreneurship journey. And I'm wondering, Laconia, is this just me?
No, I love the introduction, Stephen, when you talked about the blueprint, actually building something based on someone else's values, the comparison, uh, when you're entrepreneurship and devaluing, or at least for me, my
Mm.
own experience. So yes, I get stuck in that loop, especially with comparison, especially being an entrepreneur as long as I've been. And also trying to, this is a very good topic, trying to emulate someone else's value. So, for an example, I love one time I shared with you that you and I had a good conversation where you provided coaching to me. And one of the lessons was my North Star and building something based on my values. And when I finished that, I was so excited, driven, and I got lots done. Well, subsequent that, making progress, when I got stuck, I hit a wall in entrepreneurship. I lost sight of my values and I absorbed or adopted someone else's values. I took their blueprint. And so from their blueprint, it's all about the money. I started making decisions from
Mm.
that perspective. And so, what I was going to share, one of the entrepreneurs asked me, Laconia, why are you not working on Saturday? And the question they said is, can you afford not to work on Saturday?
Mm.
Does your business bring in the type of revenue that you have the luxury of not working every day available to you? And I thought Saturday is my day. It's how I recover. It's how I reset. It's how I rejuvenate and add value to me. Well, that was my true value system. Well, Stephen, I negated that. I forgot that. I put that on the back burner. And guess what I did? I started not trying, I started working toward their value system, building my business. And this is a real story. And I said, guess what? I'm open on Saturdays for business. And as soon as I did that, my Saturday schedule filled up immediately. And one
Mm,
might think, yes, that's revenue. Except in my heart, I said, no, this is a violation of what's true for me. This isn't what I want to do. And once I got through the work, if you will, I realized you went against your truth, your value system. This isn't what you want to do. And if you're not really present and true to what you want to do, then you can't give the full gift of what you have to give because now I'm conflicted. And so I think this is a great topic of why it's important not to follow someone else's blueprint. And I honestly did that. And I went back to my team and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm not willing to do this, and let me reset so that I can go back and be true to my own blueprint and not chase the motivation of someone else as an entrepreneur, and let me chase what's true for me, my North Star.
wow. Yeah. I when was thinking about this episode, and I haven't planned it out perfectly yet to where I'm doing these in advance. So I do this, you know, this morning. So I'm getting there. I'll get there. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I sat there and thought about was there has been two, three, four times. I mean, there's a lot of examples of exactly what you were showing, what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also two or three, four examples of where I value the mentor that's mentoring me. Yet for whatever reason, I don't listen to them and I'm doing what's preconceived in my mind. And then it wastes months of time and then I got to go back and go, I think you're right. Can you show me? Can you teach me this? Because you tried 3 months ago. And I had a moment like that last week, So
Mm-hmm.
it was just one of those moments where, somebody is sitting there telling me time and time again, you need to get out there, you need to be speaking, you need to be booking and speaking and practicing and well, I haven't necessarily been all that active as far as speaking until I've started to realize that that's exactly what I need to be doing.
So
And
what's the barrier, Steve? Like, how do we, because we have the aha moment. This is what I need to be doing. Yes, I value the mentor, like your audience, they value this information that you're putting out there. What's the block? What do we need to do to overcome that so that we're not wasting time, quite frankly?
I think that this is a mixture of emotional
Ah,
and logical. And we all know the frameworks, whether it be first principles problem solving or other different kinds of problem solving, where we reduce things down to their core and
mm-hmm,
say, this is this is this, and this is this.
mm-hmm.
And if we were to follow that in regards to, I think that we would act more and act quicker. However, it's not always that beautifully simple. We go into a mix of entrepreneurship. We're human beings. We have an ego. The ego is a mixture of our frameworks from our childhood, our
Mm-hmm.
frameworks from our young adulthood, growing and so forth. Sometimes it says, I'm a macho man, I know what I'm doing, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, oh, I'm a scaredy cat, and I don't know if I can go do that, right? And I'm a mixture. I'm all over the place sometimes, and it's just one of those things where if we were to look at and take the time to analyze the feeling
Okay.
and understand, first and foremost, feelings are just kind of like going into a bucket of noodles and trying to grab one specific one. It's
I
just
like.
they're going to move out of your way and everything like that. But you got to sit there and contemplate it, journal it, reflect upon it, and then say, is this mine?
Mm-hmm.
Is this mine? Is this my ego? Is it trying to protect me? Is it trying to, am I in fear, flight, fawn, those fear modes?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we just trust the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm at. I'm speaking more about myself right now.
Okay.
We trust the feeling over logic,
Huh.
over the systems that we know that we can put in place, especially as entrepreneurs, that make the right decision. We need to have intuition and feelings because those are the correct signals, and that's part of this book here. Um, because they're very correct in our signals, intuition and feelings and emotional intelligence are very strong in our lives. We're human beings and we have them for a reason.
So,
However, it's lack of emotional intelligence just to check it as if it's correct.
oh, wait, slow that down again. So I need to process this to understand it. It is okay to first have the feelings.
Absolutely.
You identify, I love the noodles. You go through the pot because it's a myriad of emotions and myriad of feelings and identify what's true for you given that set of circumstances. And then you weigh, this is the part where I got a little lost. Do you weigh the feelings with the logic so you can determine how to respond?
Ah, good question. Good question. Honestly, I skipped a whole bunch there, and you're absolutely right to call me out on that because you weigh your feelings against your core values
Okay.
and you weigh your feelings against your North Star. And it's kind of like a question of, is this serving me?
So let's tease this through. And I don't know if some of the audience have experienced this because this is very real in entrepreneur, really trying to get out of the loop, that blueprint, that programming of someone else's blueprint. And what you said is making these assumptions. And in the example that I gave, the logic was, does the business generate the revenue that affords me to take care of all of our expenses, make sure everyone's compensated adequately, competitively, and generate what's the word, proceeds, if you will, for the business. If that is the case, logically, then Saturday hours you don't need them. But logically, if that is not the case, Saturday hours you need, right? And so that's why I got stuck. That's when I was confused because intrinsically, internally, and maybe this is, I don't know if the entrepreneur is a cross between being the doer in the business and being the doer of the business. And so what just came to me is the logic to your point, Stephen, is spot on, but I am conflating what needs to happen as an entrepreneur for the business as opposed to understanding what my role is.
Yes, that's beautiful. I would honestly say then, what are your options? What are
Mm,
your options in regards to holding your values, holding on to your Saturday, generating more revenue? And this is part of that entrepreneurship journey that
yes.
we're all still kind of sort of feeling, right? Because
Yeah.
we have to create, okay, how do I generate the revenue enough so that I don't need to be working Saturday? I might have to do Saturdays here for a little bit, yes, but what are my options? And that's the
And so,
logical part of it that aligns with the core values, aligns with the
yes.
North Star.
Yes. And hearing you say that, just talking it aloud, it allowed me to think through something. And that's what just kind of clicked. As an entrepreneur, we get into, or for me, we create, we start a business, and then we move into creating a job for ourselves. meaning we start the business, your LLC, or however you set your structure up. Yay. And then you have a job to do, meaning this is what Laconia does, this is what Stephen does. And if we don't do it, it's not getting done. So now we have this job. So from the mindset of I have a job to do, it means Laconia must now do the doing, i.e., working Saturdays, Sundays. That's a 7-day work week. That's a 60 some odd hour work week, right?
Mhm.
But as an entrepreneur, something has to shift for us that we create the business and then we create jobs for other people, right? Our
Right.
job as the entrepreneur is to work on the business and learn to step out of it and not work in the business. Because if I'm thinking that way, we as a practice, as an entity, as an organization can be open on Saturdays. It doesn't mean that Laconia is working on Saturdays because that is true with my value system, my blueprint, my North Star, not just for me, first of all, as an individual, but I can still honor the wisdom and the logic and the guidance from other successful entrepreneurs who say, listen, here's an opportunity. You want to capture this opportunity. And so that's a way to still stay true to me and still do what's in the best interest for the business. So thank you for just giving that. It allowed me to talk it through and hear what a solution may very well be for me.
And one of the things that I actually like about you talking through that, because that was beautiful, I would, I would almost say, and I'm not attempting to attack, I'm only attempting to create thought for the
Fair.
viewers. How were we raised as far as schooling is concerned?
Yeah.
To be a part of greater whole, working inside something, working
Yes.
in a business. And
Yes.
that's the school system that we currently have. It's
Yes.
where we are. And so as you walked through that, that is a
Yes.
framework that we all have
Yes.
that we could question and
Yes.
then say, is this a part of where my North Star is? Is this a part of my core values?
Yes.
And then start going through the journey that you were speaking of, where no, I don't, I need to raise myself up and work on the business.
Yes.
For those that that is their North Star, they can work in my business.
Yes.
And I love that because that
Yes.
shows you one core um, framework that most of us already have.
Yeah.
So that thank you for that.
Well, no, you, I love what you said, like just to provoke thought, to explore it, just having the conversation, I wasn't even conscious of that being a framework that I was operating from. And I knew that I felt conflicted and just couldn't quite put my finger on why. And so this really gives clarity. And so sometimes as entrepreneurs, as the guests are listening, the audience is listening, I think it's important that when you feel that conflict, I love what you said, the noodles, like let's explore that.
Yeah,
So you can understand what is the next right step for you so that whatever you decide, you're now moving with clarity and from clarity, confidence comes as opposed to being confused and now you don't have your bearing about stepping out there to do something. It's already the abyss.
yeah,
You
yeah,
want to be certain that it's the abyss. You don't need any additional confusion
right.
that will hinder your growth. So thank you for that.
And the thing that keeps coming to my mind is that these are two laws that I speak about in my book: clarity of vision and alignment with core values.
Yeah.
And like just those two, then you can add on to it ownership and accountability, which is another law. And the ownership, and I think it's the fourth law. Ownership and accountability means you take ownership of whether you're in that framework and whether you want that framework.
Yeah. Mm.
And um, I love this actual this turned out to be a really good conversation so far because it's really lining up with all of those different parts that we go through as human beings,
Mhm.
especially when we're trying to build something big, especially
Right.
when we're trying to do something hard.
Right.
And that's another thing. I would like to just throw the challenge out there, working through emotions, like grabbing that ball of wet noodles or whatever, spaghetti. um, that is described that way because it is so hard.
Mhm.
But us as human beings, if every single one of us challenged ourselves in doing something big and or working on our emotions and building that emotional intelligence and or creating that nucleus effect, knowing who we are so in
Right.
depth.
Right.
um, and I don't know, this kind of spurred all these different triggers and thoughts and everything like that. So this might be going off the topic here, but like they say that you have a significant other, and if you know, I spent 28 years with my wife, and I love her dearly. Uh, but they say that you spend a lifetime with one significant other, and you only end up knowing them for a 16th of who they actually are.
Wow.
And just think about that. Your bestest friend, you know less than the 16th of who they
Of who
truly are.
mm.
And I believe I can think of a couple people where I feel like they know themselves less than a 16th.
I was gonna say, is that because we don't take the time to really discover and uncover who we are, right? Or are we programmed to just perform inside of the construct, almost like blinders being put on and we're just walking the path that was given to us or prescribed, the route that's been given to us, we've been placed on it. But in entrepreneurship, there's enough that says, I am going to get out of this line and I'm willing to go and explore not just the world of business, but in entrepreneurship, you start learning things about you.
Yes,
So, for an
yes.
example, I didn't know this about me. To let me tell it, I'm going to dance to my own beat of, my own music.
Oh,
That's not
I heard that.
true. That's not true. I absolutely, without real thought and real awareness, conformed. And it wasn't until the emotion that you were talking about, those wet noodles, and I was struggling. I did it, didn't feel good about it. It was like, I can't do this. But I wasn't able to identify for me what it was. Yes, I made the decision, hey, I'm not going to do this, but not realizing why I'm not going to do it. And so I'm saying that it's not until we start to know ourselves, we have that gift of vulnerability and exploration to share with other people in our encounters and experiences so they get to know us, which is why we have these quote blind spots. Other people can give you feedback on you that you're like, I didn't know that about me. Yeah, because you can't see you, right? And so entrepreneurship is not just discovery of a whole new world in terms of business, a whole new world in terms of responsibility, a whole new world in terms of liability, exposure, right? It's also self-discovery. Like, who am I? Is equal as important as who you need to be or who you desire to be in order to do what it is you've decided to do in the first place.
Mm, that is so powerful. I love that. I'm going to sum that up because I love that so much. And then I believe I've said this before. Let me take care of me for you.
Oh, I love that.
And that is essentially what it is because another saying that's not mine. Another saying is uh, the more you love yourself, the more you know love to love others.
Hmm. And so say me, I like to give the gift that I've been given.
Yes, exactly.
And that's self-discovery. And in entrepreneurship, one of the things you learn is grace and patience. Those been my 2 words for me, that I sometimes anchor myself in:
Mm,
grace and patience, right? Just grace for whatever pace that I find myself in. Sometimes I've become impatient or critical of myself. You should have known this by now. You should have had this done by now. But grace and patience.
mm,
And giving that gift to me allows me to know me. And the reason that's a big deal is because I learned that affirmations, positive regard, it elevates me, it supports me. Even when I'm being corrected, if it's the positive first, like positive correction and positive PCP, then I receive it.
wow.
So I get to, now that I learned that about me, give the gift that have been given is what I give to me. Now I can give that to other people, in coaching them, working with them, whatever it is, interacting with them. Then I think that that's one of the important things as we learn ourselves. Then we have that. They get to see us, and we also get to see them.
Yes, yes. And where my mind went with that, and this is not mine to claim or say,
Okay.
but I personally would classify grace and patience, the two core values that you're utilizing in this season of your life.
Yeah.
Because core values, as far as I'm concerned, are the values that you utilize as
Yes.
skills
Yes.
to push yourself forward and allow yourself to be pulled forward by your North Star.
Yeah. Well
So
said.
I like that. If I could just utilize that for the audience, that is what a core value is.
Yes.
Might not mean that for Laconia, but that's pretty much it is for me.
It is
Respect,
for me.
patience is one of them.
Yes.
And one of the other ones, to me, it's a spectrum. So if you were to draw a line in the sky, there's trust on one side, and there's
Mhm.
faith on the other side. And
Mm.
they have very similar definitions, but they're also so very different. One is you see a repetition and a pattern, and you say, I can trust this.
Mhm.
Past casting to future casting.
Mhm.
We do this with human beings.
Ah,
Faith
yes.
is this is like that, and therefore I can trust that future casting.
Mm.
And to me, that's very important. If you're a spiritual person, we do the same thing. We look in the world and we say, look at this beautiful world. Therefore, I have faith in.
Right.
Um, but also, it's important to have that spectrum. And that's where I'm kind of sort of at as far as one of the core values is
Okay.
not a particular definition, but both of them.
Actually, I think that's a great principle because it teaches us in our being to be fluid,
Yes. Yes.
right? So in entrepreneurship, one of the reasons, or at least I found that I inadvertently, unconsciously, and even passively adopted someone else's blueprint and looped myself into it and put my own values on the back burner is being rigid,
Yes.
thinking that it's this way or that way, right? And so, really unearthing and shaking loose rigidity in my own thinking that said, it has to go like this. You have to do this, that, and the third. Well, what if I'm fluid? What if it's both? And really, to your point, that spectrum, talking this through, I was able to really think through a solution that incorporates both. I can still run services on a weekend. It doesn't have to be me that does it, right? So
Yes.
both. So I think what you said allows us as entrepreneurs to open ourselves up to all of the possibilities, right? To the fluidity that there's ebbs and there's flow. And really in a grand scheme of things, it's all of it. It's to what degree of it is really what we're dealing with.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the thing that, it comes to my mind, and I mentioned the word options.
Mm,
And I'm probably going to murder his name, Sharon Srivatsa. He
okay.
says, and I've heard this quote. I love this quote. If you don't know your options, you have none.
Wow.
So being curious and being flexible, being in the flow and looking for, questioning whether you have a borrowed blueprint.
Yes.
Those things are so essential
Yes.
to moving into your next season, moving up to your next level.
Yes. I
So
like that. If you have no if you say that again,
if you don't know your options,
then you have none.
then you have none. And so with since I've heard that, I sit there and, oh, you know me, I journal a lot. A lot. I have a journal specifically dedicated to sitting there going, what are my options? And then just playing this curious game of making up things. Maybe a unicorn comes and gives me an option of this, but it's part of discovering the options that I don't know.
And the reason why that just resonated with me, it is so empowering.
Yes.
Right? To think about one of the things, so in my line of work, I work with people around being stuck, emotionally, mentally stuck from past experiences, present experience, just stuck, and they just loop and loop. And it creates suffering for them, right? And one of the things that my whole practice is called choices, creating healthy options
Mm,
that inspire change and empowerment for self. That's the acronym. That's what it means. And so once you realize you have some options, then it's empowering for you to say, I want to go left, and from left I can now go up, down, or in between. And so what it teaches your brain to know, one is fluid, and you're not, the doors are not always closed, right? There are many ways, as the old folk used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, which was really saying you have options. So really get into the mindset to really start recognizing those or creating those is what creates this empowerment for self.
yes. And the analogy of the door reminds me of a story I had written in the book where, um, I was as I was writing, I was trying to put it into words,
Mm,
and I was challenged with something, and I was banging on the door, trying to get in.
mm-hmm.
And the solution was all I had to do was reach out to the handle and turn it. It was already unlocked for me.
Isn't that something?
So,
Such a life analogy.
so I love this.
Such a life analogy. Great, that's a great example. Yeah.
So we've gone through the journey of talking about the frameworks that a lot of times we just don't even question in our lives. Schooling
Mm-hmm.
was one of them where we work in a business. And if you're an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur or want to build something, you might want to think about building something that you are not in, right?
Yep.
Working on the business is the
Yep.
example.
Yep.
So how do you, and I would love to hear feedback, and I'd also challenge you, if you know somebody, send this to them because we're here talking about frameworks that are not just entrepreneurs, it's for everybody in life because you
Yep.
got this.
Yep.
And how do you distinguish between what's just a goal and what's your North Star? I'm
Yeah.
Stephen McConnell, CEO of Growth Mindset Initiative, author of The Seven Laws of Personal Mastery. My co-host,
And
Konya.
I am Laconia Reed. I am the founder and owner of Choices International, a group mental health practice. If you want counseling to gain insight, find us at choicesint.com. And so say me. luxury fitness brand for those who want to focus on movement, recovery, and mindset.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Until next time, bye bye.